Curriculum Thinking Week and my presentation on virtual fieldwork in the geography classroom. My name is Richard, Dr. Richard Bustin. I'm Head of Geography and Director of Pedagogy, Innovation and Staff Development at Lancing College. I put my email address on the front there because I'm also very, very happy to have conversations with people and follow up a lot of these ideas should you so wish. I published this book, What Are We Teaching? Powerful Knowledge and Capabilities Curriculum. I'm actually talking about that in another session as part of this Curriculum Thinking Week. And I'm editor of Teaching Geography Journal, published by the Geographical Association. If you or your college or your school are not part of the Geographical Association, please do join. It is our professional subject association. And that is a journal published 3 times a year, loads of articles that will be of interest and value. And in fact, I have shared some articles with you as part of the Curriculum Thinking Week, and you can access those on virtual fieldwork, including one on physical geography and a couple of ideas, and also an idea I've shared with you about homelessness, which is a theme in this particular presentation. So virtual fieldwork, some starting points. It must not replace real fieldwork. So I'd be really sad if, as a result of this, you go, oh, let's scrap that fieldwork where we take the kids in a coach and have to book first aid kits and all that lot. No, it should not replace it. It simply augments it, and it supports the development of fieldwork skills. So whatever you're going to do virtually, and I'm talking about using Google Earth, what we're going to use today, it builds up the skills. It shouldn't replace them. All it needs is an internet connection and a device. Get the students in front of some sort of device. I appreciate in some schools that's not easy. So we're going to use Google Earth. I'm going to show you Google Earth today, and we're going to go to Las Vegas because, let's face it, we can go anywhere, right? The work I'm going to share with you is work that we do here at Lancing College with our year 9 students, and we do it around the GCSE options time. So kind of January, February, it's quite dark and dingy outside, so taking them on field work is difficult, but we can do it virtually, of course. I've given you in that conference space associated with this a whole scheme of work and a lot of resources to do a bit of build up to it. Those are what we do there. We introduce Las Vegas, describe the location, draw a climate graph, then look at some flash flooding, because they do get flash flooding in Las Vegas. And as a result of that, they build these big tunnels underneath the strip, which is where there are some homeless people who take shelter. So there's a bit on perception of place and homeless geographies, and then we go on to our virtual field trip. So there's a little bit of build up. You can actually let this work out over half a term. I'm actually going to come out of this main presentation now and show you exactly how we do it. So I've got the screen toggled here, the fieldwork booklet, which I've also shared with you on the left-hand side there, and Google Earth, which I've shown on the right. What I tend to do is print the booklet out. The students have that in front of them with a pen, and they're writing in as they go, and then they can have Google Earth in its full glory on the screen. I've just got it split here to show you. So they write their name, and the inquiry question is Las Vegas a great place? They're going to ask 3 sub-questions. How does environmental quality vary across Las Vegas? How does flood risk vary? And how might different people who live and work in Las Vegas view the city? So this is these are the sorts of questions that build up from the work that they've been doing in the previous few weeks. This booklet actually takes them through and does everything for them. It tells them where to go, but I'm going to show you here. There's 3 locations that we're going to go to. The Strip, a region or a neighborhood called Summerlin, and a 3rd region called the Cultural Corridor, all within Las Vegas itself. And they're going to use Street View. It takes them through it there. I'm going to show you. So the first thing they have to do in the booklet is to write an introduction to their project, and there's a box there. They either type in or they write a little bit of an introduction, where Las Vegas is, how it developed over time, what the climate's like, and what people live and work there. Then I've given them some secondary data collected by other people. In this case, it is some population data. So if I'm teaching this, I would bring this up on the screen and I would get them to annotate it as we go. So this shows the non-white population by neighborhood, and I've identified the Cultural Corridor and Summerlin. So you can see the Cultural Corridor, 81.2% non-white. The majority of that population is Hispanic. The reason why this is significant is because this tends to be our migrant population, tends to be our slightly less affluent group. In Summerlin, it's only 37.3% non-white, and actually the majority is Asian, and that tends to be a slightly more affluent group within Las Vegas. So already they can start to think about the kinds of people that are living and working in Las Vegas. As we scroll down, there's a box here to write out their methods. They can write it in a bullet point, and they evaluate their methods as well. And then they go through to the data collection part, which is what I'm going to show you now. So they've got to write some numbers in here. So the first location, if I go back to the start of the booklet, is the Las Vegas Strips. So I'm just going to copy and paste that across into that search Google Earth, paste it in there, and then it should take us to the Las Vegas Strip. So I've clicked on there. Now, when we go into the Las Vegas Strip, the first thing you'll see, it takes us to the big fountains outside the Bellagio Hotel. Now, if I click on the person in the bottom right corner, that takes us into Street View. If I drag and drop somewhere in that area there. It should hopefully take us directly into Street View. I'm actually in a bubble here in the fountains of the Bellagio. That's okay. You can come out and go into the street. Ideally, you are actually in the street rather than in the fountains. But this is one of the things they can write about in their evaluation. So what are we doing here? And we're going to do the same studies in each of the 3 different locations. We're going to do an environmental quality survey. So litter on the streets, we're going to give a score, and we're going to write it in that set of boxes there. 1 is lots of litter, 5 is no litter. So as I'm looking around here, I'm looking on the floor, I might be able to look and go, oh, what is that? I can zoom in, zoom out, and I might decide, actually, it looks pretty clean. They've got a litter bin there. So I'm probably going to give that maybe 5. If I see a bit, maybe I'll give it a 4, but I'm going to basically give it probably a 5. So I'll write 5 in there. Evidence of graffiti, any graffiti here? I'm clicking around. Don't forget to tell them to look up. Well, no, I can't see any graffitis. They might get quite a high score. Traffic is an interesting one. There's actually a massive road there. I may not want to actually be in the actual fountains of the Bellagio. I may want to actually be on the road junction. And there you see the traffic. So again, looking around here, lots of people, lots of traffic on the road. It's clearly very busy. So I might give that. That might get a slightly worse score for traffic. So I might give it a 1 or a 2. There's quite a lot of traffic there. Open space, well, there is a bit of open space. 1, none, 5 to lots. And then building density, 1 is overcrowded and 5 is well spaced out. So I'm going to give another set of numbers in there. And that gives me a score that I can then use. I also, whilst I'm here, I'm going to do a flash flood survey. So you'll see if it's going to be a low risk of flood, it's going to be a 1. A 10 is going to be a high risk of flooding. So if we do get lots of rainfall, is it going to flood? And I've given them there some factors that give make flooding worse. So paved roads, concrete, narrow channels, surface water already in existence. We know there's a big fountain. We've just seen it. And then factors that will reduce the impact of flooding, lots of drains, grass, trees, and any open space. So I'm going to give it 1 number. I might think, actually, do you know what? There's a lot of concrete here. This is probably going to flood. So I'm probably going to give it, what, a 7 or an 8. Once I've done there, that was the Paris Hotel. I was just outside there. I'm then going to go to the second of my 3 areas. And I'm going to go to here. This is the area of Summerlin. So I was giving them an address in Summerlin. So I'm going to delete that address there, stick a second one in, and then visit that region there. And I'm going to do exactly the same, repeat the survey. So here I am in Summerlin. So click on Street View, drop myself in probably in this road here, and I'm going to do exactly the same survey. So you've got to tell the students, make sure that they are repeating it. So evidence of graffiti, evidence of litter, traffic, open space, and they're going to record this second set here. We're in Summerlin. They're going to record the same numbers there. And it's really important that they repeat the same timings. Then we go to the cultural corridor, and do exactly the same thing there, scores 1 to 5 and scores 1 to 10 there. I won't take you to just from a time point of view. You can see where that would be, but the address is at the front of the booklet there. So you're going to go to 3 places and explore them. They're also going to do, once they've done that, they can then do a lived space survey. So how would each of these people feel about living and working in there? So where are you going to put your tourist from New York on holiday? Is he going to go to one of those 3, and why? Where are you going to put an elderly couple looking to retire? Which are the 3 areas there, and why? Then they're going to draw the data. Now, this is the radar graph. So what they do with the environmental quality data is that they will go, let's say one color, let's say red will be the strip, and let's say they're given litter, what was it, 5, graffiti was 4, let's say traffic was 2, and then they put a dot round and they join it up and it makes a shape. They then get a second color and it's superimposed that over the top for Summerlin, and they do the third color for the cultural corridor. Remember, the bigger the shape, the better the environmental quality, and then they can analyze that. And they've got space in here to draw a bar chart for the flood area analysis. Then they got to do some analysis. So what is the environmental quality like and why? And they got to write in there. What's the flood risk like? What sorts of people? How do each of the areas compare? So literally they're filling out a sentence in the box using their data. And then right at the end, is Las Vegas a great place? They can write their conclusions in the booklet there. And that is the flood analysis survey. That's the fieldwork, the virtual fieldwork, sorry, for here, not just flood analysis, but also is Las Vegas a great place? So final couple of slides. If you want to take any ideas further, I've put in that shared area lots of things, 3 articles from the Geo publications. I've got an article, a more academic article I've written about homelessness and homeless geographies, if you want to follow that. Schemes of work and the resources. Recommended reading, well, that's what I put into the articles in that conference space, if you want to follow any of that up. Those are my 3 questions. Please do feel free to put some answers to those underneath. Is how useful is virtual fieldwork? How can it support the fieldwork you already do? And are there any barriers to this actually working in practice? Thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed the presentation, and hopefully be in touch soon.